For those of you all who are new, my name is Michelle Williams and I go by The Ignited Teacher here on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media platforms. So if you all haven't liked or follow me, go ahead and do so. Give me that thumbs up here on Facebook, or if you prefer to follow me on Twitter, um, that's cool too. Oh yeah, my parents live in Georgia, and I'm sure it's freezing there because it snows in Georgia. So tonight is day 5 of the Fraction Frenzy Challenge. So day 1, we covered fraction models. Day 2, 3, and some of 4. We dove into equivalent fractions and how to apply and find that scale factor. And day 5 is we're kind of just taking it home and gonna close it out tonight with creating fractions that are greater than 1. As you see, I am sitting down tonight. So I have a video that I created. It is actually a video for my students. If you all got the email today, you got the link to the video. One of the things that I want to put out there tonight is that there will be a recap page for all of the videos and trainings that I had this week during the challenge. So you can go to the recap page and get them there. So tonight's lesson is fractions that are greater than 1. Some teachers, that is new terminology because in my day, and I wouldn't consider myself that old, we called them improper fractions. So the terminology has changed. They are fractions that are greater than 1. And I really like this idea and saying fractions greater than 1 because it makes the students think about, okay, I'm talking about fractions that are just not a whole number. So I started using that terminology. Okay, these are fractions that are greater than 1. Now, fractions that are greater than 1 are taught in 3rd grade. It starts there because they put fractions on the number line. Since the standards have been pushed down, it starts there. And it's a very abstract concept unless you make it concrete, bringing in concrete items such as apples and things like that. So, let me see. I'm just going to close that out. So, the video that I'm going to show, let me go ahead and get that started.
Fractions that are greater than 1 to a mixed number by decomposing fractions. So let's go ahead.
So we're talking about decomposing fractions in this video, and it goes along with the tape diagram or the bar model. Now, a lot of teachers don't have experience with this, and it's because we were not taught this way. So once the younger teachers, probably about 10 to 12 years from now, cycle through, they will be taught with these types of model, and it will be more of a natural way to teach. If you came up probably within the last 10 years, you were more so taught with an abstract concept of fractions. So that's where we are today, and it was a natural progression for me because a lot of people don't know my story. I got into and started creating lessons and stuff because my son struggled in math. And I realized that a lot of his teachers, well, they were well-meaning. They did not use models for him. And he's very, very concrete. Like, he needs the picture. And if there's no picture, then it just would bottom out for him. And that's where he would, he just struggled with it. So he ended up with an IEP in mathematical reasoning. And that's how I got into this. How do students learn? What was best for him? And the models helped him a lot with a real life experience. So here's the video.
So I have 10/3, and because
I'm gonna move it up.
my
So here's
tape diagram into thirds. So this will give me 3/3. Now, when using decomposing to convert to a mixed number, we're going to use the operation subtraction, because in this we're actually pulling out all of the.
Now, this is an important concept. The subtraction, and I've had teachers press me on this about the decomposing. We have students that cannot divide. We have special ed students, we have 504 students, and just students that struggle. So you have three different populations that struggle within your group if you're working in a school or a high need school where students are generally not on grade level. I can tell you right now, I'm sitting at a 60-40 split. 40% of my kids are on grade level, and then I got 60% of my students that are not on grade level. So let me give you a visual. I have 3 classes of math. So that means that a little over one of my sections of math are on grade level. And that depends on how many students that I have. So we're talking about 2 classes that are not on grade level versus 1. So this concept, we talk about subtraction in here. And I try to always connect subtraction with division because it anchors the kids' learning. So in the video, I'm going to show how you subtract that 3/3. And also with 3rd and 4th grade, it cements the idea of 3/3 or a number over itself is 1. I can remember just not too many years ago, before I started teaching this way through the decomposing and the partitioning using tape diagrams, I would ask my students, and just for kind of giggles, because I would hope one day I say, okay, what is 3/3? And the students could never tell me that it was actually 1 whole. So that has always been something that I would strive every year. My kids are going to be able to recognize any number over itself is 1 whole. And this teaching this way reinforces that concept.
Whole numbers. So I've taken out one group of 3/3. So I'm going to subtract that from the 10/3. So 10/3 minus 3/3 equals 7/3. So then I look at my fraction that I have now and ask myself, is it still an improper fraction? And the answer is yes. And I know that it's an improper fraction because
so even within this lesson, there are thinking questions, because a lot of our students, they're so bent on, okay, I need to get the answer. I need to get the answer. But I always stop my students like here. After every time they subtract 1 whole, they have to ask themselves that thinking question. Is this still an improper fraction or a fraction that's greater than 1? And if the answer is yes, you continue to subtract. So it gives them a stopping point to where, am I going to continue to subtract, and when do and answers the question, when do I stop subtracting?
numerator is larger than the denominator. So that tells me that I still have some whole numbers to remove. So I'm going to partition my second tape diagram and that's another 3/3. So I'm going to subtract 7/3 minus 3/3 is going to give me 4/3. So now I have to stop and think again. Is this still an improper fraction? And the answer is yes, because the numerator is larger than the denominator. So that lets me know that I need to continue to decompose. So I'm going to take out another 3/3.
So if you notice in the video, every time I subtract that 3/3, I partition the tape diagram. And that's an important part because a lot of teachers tend to not show the algorithm in conjunction with the model. I can understand if you're in third grade and you're introducing it and you want the kids to focus on the model. But for fourth and fifth grade, I would recommend that the algorithm and the model go hand in hand. So the students can see that this algorithm is actually a picture of this model. In my classroom, I use read, draw, write, and it's my problem solving strategy. And some teachers will say, well, they have to actually draw. Well, an algorithm is a picture of the model. It's just in its abstract form, which is in the number form or the numerical form. But it is a picture. So my students could draw this tape diagram of this picture. They really could. But because my students are moving to more abstract as they master these concepts, we just use the algorithm. And the students, when they have in my classroom, when they have to choose a math tool, they can choose to use the algorithm or they can choose to use the model, whichever one there is. But I do try to move them to the algorithm. But if they're not ready for that, they most certainly can use the picture.
So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And I'm going to subtract that up here. 4/3 minus 3/3 is 1/3. Now, I've come to the end. Now I have a unit fraction or a proper fraction, and I have to ask myself this thinking question. Are there any more whole numbers? No, there's not any more whole numbers because I know that a fraction that is greater than one whole, has a numerator that is larger than the denominator, and that's not the case here. So I'm going to go back and box in all of my 3/3 and rename them as one whole.
And notice I use the term rename. That is a powerful word. And when I tell you it unlocks so much deadlock in the brain with students, especially with equivalent fractions. If you just change, okay, we don't use the word, oh, we're going to create an equivalent fraction. You can say, we're going to rename this fraction as, and then you can move the kids into equivalent fraction. Saying rename, it has been a game changer for me because renaming it is saying that, okay, it's still what it is, but we're going to rename it to look like something else.
This is going to let me know what the whole number is in my mixed number. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3, and I have 1/3 left over. So 10/3 is equivalent to 3 and 1/3.
And so that is a short lesson. That clip I actually created for my students. I use Google Classroom in my math classroom. So I upload those links for, especially for my special populations, my um, students that struggle with mathematics, for my 5 students, that 4 students that struggle with mathematics, and for those students that have IEPs in math that struggle. So what it does is it creates a reference bank for those students, so they can always go, if they forget, they can go into Google Classroom where it says math resources and find that video and listen to it. And then it takes the bulk of the learning from me, because they're looking at me as the person who has all the learning, and I direct them and tell them where no, it says, okay, it makes them aware of, I don't know these skills, so let me go and find something that's going to help me. And that has been really a game changer for me, because it shifts my students from dependent learners to independent learners. So that is how fractions that are greater than 1 are um, converted. They are equivalent. I don't know why a lot of us as teachers, we don't see them as equivalents, because I teach 5th grade. We have to add fractions and add mixed numbers. So if you add mixed numbers, obviously you're going to end up with an improper fraction at some point in time. And the students have to recognize that they can't leave it. They have to convert it to a mixed number. And it has been really an easy year with this. My students normally struggle with it, but since I've been using Google Classroom, and I've been using the decomposing and shifting the responsibility to them, it has been a lot different, and the kids retain more information. I have definitely seen that jump. So that ends day 5, but I wanted to go ahead and show you all this. So I am creating a course called the Fraction Frenzy course. And the course has not been created. Yes, yet I want to be very transparent about that. So this is going to be kind of like a founding course for teachers who want to get in on the front end. The reason why I created this course, and I want to be very transparent, is because I've been teaching 18 years, and I have come in contact with so many teachers that are struggling with this strand. And I've created several products around fractions. If you follow me, I have a teacher paid teacher store, and I also sell my products on my website, fuelgreatminds.com. So I've been doing that for a couple of years, and I see teachers struggling with this so often. And even when I've presented this lesson at conferences, teachers are looking for they're looking for good strategies. And I said, okay, what can I do to solve this problem? Because I love everything about teaching and learning. I love my students, and it gives me goosebumps when they can do these fractions and they can understand, and then we can have dialogue about it. So I created this course, and what it is it's a course that is going to take the fraction strand from 3rd through 5th, and I'm going to teach that in an online format. Now, let me scroll down here. Here are some topics that are going to be included. Some topics that are going to be included are teacher preparation. So a lot of teachers don't know where to begin. They tend to say, okay, they just dive in. So for like me, like I told you, my students are 60% below grade level. 60% of them are below grade level. So I know there are certain things that I have to prepare for. I know I'm going to have to scaffold my lessons. I know I'm going to have to um, push things back. I know that I might have kids at different. It's a lot of moving parts. So that will be in the teacher preparation. So I'll be talking about vocabulary, the vertical alignment, and manipulatives too that you will need. Also, just like I did in the fraction frenzy challenge, I um, will also include area model, length model, but I'll go more in depth. I will provide um, worksheets, Blackline Masters for you all in the course. Also, so in module 3, there's going to be 5 modules, but I only put 3 on here. Fractions on a number line. That's where it starts in 3rd grade. Introducing the number line. Fractions, how to place the fractions on the number line. How to introduce this to young students. And then in here, it also will be creating number lines. That is one of the things that I struggle with my 5th graders. They do not know how to set up a number line. Now, this course will eventually cost $147, but because I'm on the front end and I am just starting out with it, I'm offering it to teachers for $47. You can get in on it, and you're asking me what that includes. It includes the 5 modules. Any updates to the course is lifetime access. So if you get in on it live, you will get in at the $47. So what does that include? The 5 modules. It also is going to include some bonuses. And you might say, well, what are those bonuses? Well, like I told you, I said I've already been selling ready-made lesson plans. Excuse me. And some of those lessons here are equivalent fractions. That's with the color tile activity. And it's a full lesson plan with worksheets and Blackline Masters. It teaches you, it has questions, it teaches you and walks you through how to deliver the lesson. You have generating equivalent fractions. It's the same thing. It's a differentiated lesson. Also, I'm throwing in converting improper fractions. This is my zebra cake challenge lesson. It is very, very popular. I taught my 5th graders, and it's a 4th, 5th graders converting improper fractions, but it's kind of made up like a STEM challenge. And then I'm throwing in my decomposing fractions to multiply, as well as my adding fractions with unequal denominators, showing you how to add fractions without using the least common denominator. So if you have students that are struggling with finding least common denominator, that lesson is for you. Now, these bonuses will not be included unless you purchase the $47 course within the 3 days. So from now until Sunday night, and it's Sunday night, you have a choice to make. You can either purchase it now and get all of the lesson plans, because I believe it's about 6 lesson plans that are included. But if you wait until Monday, because you see this clock ticking here, it's going to shut it down and it won't be available anymore. So, like I said, I'm starting out with this course. You'll be on the front end making this course with me. We'll have a Facebook group that we'll meet in, and you can ask me questions and about these fraction lessons, and I'll be creating a course week by week. It will be a 5-week course because there are 5 modules. Each week will start with a strand, and it's not going to be labor intensive. You can do it at your own pace. I'll come in on the Facebook group and I'll do Q&As as well as any um, clarifications that teachers need. But you only get this with if you purchase live. So you can enroll for $47 today. You have 3 days. I'm going to give you 3 days to enroll in the course. And after that, I'm going to close the enrollment. Now, here are some frequently asked questions. Do I offer refunds or guarantees? Absolutely. Now, I stand by my work. None of the activities that I sell, there are always things that I have done in my classroom over the course of the year. I have taught first through eighth grade, so I have a wealth and a wide lens and variety of tools in my toolbox. So if you so happen to say, okay, Michelle, I am basically trying this, is not working for my students, and you're just not getting what you need, I will definitely refund your money. Because it's not really about hold. I want you to have things that work for you. How long do you have access to the course? The course is for a lifetime of the course, meaning that it will always be there unless I happen to not be here any longer. So you'll have access to the course at the $4. Even if I choose to, I'm going to increase the price because the course will build over time. But at $47, you're going to get all those updates and anything else that I add to the course. The next one is, do you have what is the format? The course is on it's on Teachable. Teachable is where I house all of my courses. If you have seen my classroom management course, it's on Teachable as well. I have an email course called Dealing with Disrespectful Students. It's on Teachable as well. And what will happen, because it will be dripped out over a week's time. So each week it'll drip out content for you. So teacher preparation will be the first module because it's laying the foundation for you, the teacher, before you jump into any teaching of these concepts. Now, if you are working with a school district, I do not accept purchase orders, but I will give the school district 10 licenses for $1,500. And that's cheaper than sending any teacher to a conference. I know that our younger teachers, they're not really big on the whole conference thing. That was my generation when I started teaching. And I know that this format, they have, because they're YouTube teachers, and I've even moved to that side. I've gotten my master's degree online. I never sat in one class for my master's degree. And this format works for me because you can work at your own pace. And you can always refer back to it. Your Black Line Masters and everything are going to be housed in here. So that's all I have for you all. If you're interested in this course, let me get my thing back up. If you're interested in this course, then you can go to fractionfrenzy.com. You can go to fractionfrenzy.com, and you're going to have 3 days to purchase this course and to get all 6 of the lesson plans. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, you also will have access to all of the content that I presented over the course of the 5-day challenge. That's part of the bonuses as well. So that's all I have for you all tonight. If you have any questions about this course, please leave them in the comment section, and I will definitely answer them as soon as I get a chance. So you all have an awesome Friday, and also practice some self-care this weekend if you're one of those teachers that are into that, because I definitely am. I'm going to go in here because it's cold. I'm going to go in here and watch TV and me and my dog. So y'all have an awesome weekend, and I will see you all in the course. Bye bye.